Howdy, everyone. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. For the record, I am your host, your future favorite pop star, Landyn Zane.
Here we go.
It's been a minute.
And I am the other great host, Sebastian Miquilarena.
I thought you were stroking out for a second.
I was for a little bit.
Okay,
I was like trying
sure.
to think of what I was going to say.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
When is this coming out? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. This is to celebrate the end of the year. We wanted to do an episode. We're on holiday break right now because we're traveling and stuff, and we didn't have the time to get all the episodes.
Life got tough
done.
for a second. So, yeah.
But
we're back.
we're back.
We're
so,
I work here now.
you got a job at Dunkin'.
So I get free coffee.
I am currently in Iowa. It is probably about -10. I'm doing good. Ready to fucking come
Probably gonna be
back.
cold as fucking Texas too. I wonder how cold it is right now. Actually.
Sorry. I'm trying to think. But we're celebrating the end of the year.
45. It's gonna be fun to go home.
In Texas?
Yeah, that's cold for Texas.
That is really cold for Texas.
Fucking freezing.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold as fuck.
But to celebrate the end of the year, the holidays, everything, we thought we would go over our top five favorite movies of the year, top 5 favorite
I already know this is gonna be my favorite
albums
episode
of the year.
because I've been excited for this.
And our song of the year. We originally were gonna do top 10,
Yeah.
but then we
We
realized
also got some honorable mentions.
That
though,
too.
for songs
We'll
of
start
the
with
year and
that.
Stuff like that.
We were gonna do top 10 favorite movies of the year, but then we realized that we didn't realize. We know I've seen 12 movies this year, and 2 of them I legally can't even say I've seen. So I would have to put the horrible movies I've seen this year on my list of top 10, and I didn't want to do that. So we're doing top 5 of each, and then we also, to make it more fun, we guessed each other's lists, what we thought we would guess. We'll see if that how that goes.
So inaccurate, but we'll see how much I think I might know you.
I hope you should know my number 1.
Dude,
hope.
I don't know.
Movies.
This is what I was trying to tell you earlier. Is I know you, of course.
Yeah.
But your music taste to my music taste is very, very different. So
Yeah,
the
no
way my
shit.
brain works is very different. I'm not going to be constantly thinking about or remembering certain projects that you really liked. So even if we listen to an album, like let's say we listened, I didn't fully listen to Sabrina's, but let's say you and me sat down and we listened to.
Well, we sat Brat, because we did that. We sat outside and listened to Brat.
Okay, there's that.
Yeah.
We listened to Brat, all of us out in the balcony. We all really liked it. I really liked it. So,
Yeah.
of course, that's something that I continuously listened to and remembered. But, like, what I mean is, going back to the example, let's say Chapel Roan's was this year. And we listened to that album. I didn't really care for it. It was your favorite. I'm going to forget about it. I'm going to stop thinking about it. So then when we
You
get
didn't
back
care for
to,
Chaperone's album?
I still haven't fully listened to it. But it's also, like, I like a couple of her songs, but I don't like pop.
That's true.
It's
fair.
ironic because the 1975 is my favorite band, but
that's the
they
only
do
pop.
different. Yeah, they do all different types of pop, and they also just do different types of music
Experiment
as well.
stuff too, yeah.
But I don't really care for pop that much unless it's Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
but
there's a few.
like I don't really. There's certain people of pop I care about, but I don't really care for pop that much. So like if I like a couple
that's
songs,
why my favorite song.
but yeah, like I like a couple songs off of Sabrina's. Taste was one of my most listened to songs of the year.
Yeah, I thought for a minute I
But-
thought about putting that as
And
your
then like
song of the
Chapel
year.
Roan, a couple of her songs I listen to a lot, but I don't care for a lot of the album, and I don't care for a lot of Sabrina's and even Lizzie's. Like there's just certain things I'm like, I don't really care.
Lizzie McAlpine?
Yeah, I didn't care for her
That
album
wasn't a
much.
pop album.
Well, I'm just saying albums in general, like stuff that
Yeah.
you would really, the stuff that you listen to more,
Yeah.
that you would like.
Yeah.
It's stuff that I'm kind of like, I listened to it once and I was like, Like I love Khalid, but even his album this year I listened to once. I was like, it was pretty good. And
When
then
it just came out?
Yeah. Well, he dropped the deluxe, but
That's what that was?
yeah,
Okay.
he dropped his album earlier this year, and there's some songs that I fucking loved.
Yeah.
Like "Don't Fall in Love with Me" is one of my most listened songs this year. But the rest of the album, there's like a couple bangers, and then the rest of it was just whatever. So I forgot about it.
Yeah,
So it's like even if you constantly are like, yeah, I listened to this one and this one, I'm not thinking about it. So
true.
even if I know you, I don't know how accurate my guesses are going to be because I don't really know. There's also shit I don't know what you listen to. With your list, half that shit I haven't listened to.
No, there's more. It's more than half.
So I'm like, I don't even know how to put an opinion on shit that I haven't even listened to myself.
That's why I'm hoping for the albums you just remembered what I've talked about.
Yeah.
If you don't get my movies, I'll be the order maybe.
I also don't know. I know some movies that I've seen with you this year,
I've
but
seen
I
10 movies this year. Half of them were bad. Choose the good ones.
This is true. I know the two that we can't say because we signed NDAs.
Yeah. But we're gonna start with movies, but let's start with just all around honorable mentions every category.
Yes.
I'll start my number 6 or my number 5. If I would have listened to it earlier this year.
Well, I was gonna do like 2 or 3 honorable mentions.
A little, yeah. This would have been my number 5.
Oh, okay.
If I found it earlier in the year, it probably would have been my number 5. Glimmer of God by Gene Dawson. I love it, dude. Like, I know you recommended it to me and told me to. I love it.
I did not at all expect that to be anywhere in that list.
It's an honorable mention.
Wow.
I love it.
I'm impressed and I'm excited and I'm happy because
so good.
I loved that album too.
It's so good.
Wow. That makes me so happy. Fuck yeah.
It's so good.
So that's cool. Okay. I guess for my honorable mention, we'll just do 1-1. But my honorable mention for my 6th spot, it was hard. It was between a bunch of it's also in my
Your
other
albums?
ones, but for my albums, it was really hard to pick my number 5. But a couple honorable mentions. I'll say the first one, then the next one. But my first choice that I was like, I really want to put it in there was Brat.
Fuck.
Yeah, Brat did not make my top 5.
God damn it.
It was a really, really hard choice, but Brad did not make my top.
Yeah, this list for you is about to be rough then.
Yeah, what's your next one?
We'll go movies first. My movies honorable mentions, Gladiator 2 was the only one. There was a movie that I didn't remember came out this year until like an hour ago, and it got swapped with Gladiator 2.
Okay.
That's really, I haven't seen that many movies this year. And the other movies I've seen this year have been fine or bad. So, yeah. Gladiator 2 was my favorite movie of the year when I watched it, and I've seen it twice. But the more I sit with it, the more I'm like, there's things above it. Yeah. Do you have any movie honorable? You've seen a lot more movies this year.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to...
When I'm in Iowa, by the time they watch this, I very likely could have some stuff because there's movies I want to watch that I'll watch in Iowa.
It's also hard because the reason it was really hard for me to pick, I knew off the bat my top 5 movies for sure.
I figured.
I knew off.
I have a good idea.
I knew off rip, especially after the last couple of weeks of movies that have come out. I knew off rip, top 5, top 6 and below.
The order too.
Yeah, the order too. I knew. Well, the order shifted throughout.
I know
the year.
your top 2.
Yeah, the order shifted throughout the year, but they consistently stayed in my top 5 all year. They didn't ever make it out, so that's how I knew. I was solidified. But I guess it took a lot of thinking. It took a lot of. I didn't even give it a rewatch yet, but it took a lot of thinking. But I think at an honorable mention, I got to put a Heretic in there.
I had that at your number 5 and swapped it for something.
I got to put it up there because
I did good.
It's one of those movies where
I know you love it.
It's so fucking well written, so well acted, so well directed.
Isn't there only the 3 people?
It's literally 3 actors.
There's
a couple people here and there,
it's like Barbarian.
Yeah, there's a couple people here and there known though. Fucking Topher Grace is in the movie. I didn't even know he was in it, and he just shows up, and I was like, "Oh fuck!"
I should watch that.
It's pretty good, but it's one of those things. It's also Hugh Grant's. I genuinely think Hugh Grant's best performance, up to date at least, and he's done some great shit. But I think this was his genuine best performance. But the reason it was a really hard pick is because of the ending. Because for me, the top 5.
Having not seen it, I don't know what that means,
but yeah, for me in the top 5s, it's perfect.
Okay.
Which is why I gave them the top 5 because there's not a single thing about any of these 5 movies that I'm like, I just can't not like it.
Okay.
Heretic,
I'm more
two-thirds of Heretic were phenomenal, and then the ending just kind of lost me, which is fine because it's not one of those endings where the ending is like, oh, fuck this. Like Joker 2. It's been long enough. I don't fucking care. When Joker dies at the end of the movie, that genuinely ruined the whole movie for
Still
me.
haven't seen it.
I was having a great
I
fucking...
probably won't watch it.
You shouldn't. But I was having a great time with the musical stuff. I actually thought that was some of the best parts of the movie.
I've seen those clips.
But then at the very, very end of the movie, someone stabs and kills Joker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so we just went through an entire fucking movie where he supposedly was supposed to embrace this Joker, but then we decided, no, now we're going to say, oh, you're not the Joker that people need.
Yeah.
So he's completely changed what he wanted to do as Joker and then just gets killed. So I wasted 2 hours of my fucking time to just have him killed, which could have been the post-credit scene of Joker 1 and ended it there.
That even would have made Joker bad.
Either way. But that's just like, that type of shit pisses me off and ruins a movie for me. But the ending of Heretic was just kind of It wasn't, that's terrible, fuck that. It was just like, that didn't really work for me.
But
it was
a lot of horror movies don't stick
it was such a good fucking... It wasn't an M. Night ending. Like, Trap, I loved, then the ending ruined the whole movie for me. It's like that type of stuff. But But yeah, Heretic was just so fucking well written and acted that like...
Did you see Smile too?
I haven't yet, no.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just one of those movies where like it's heavy dialogue, but it doesn't feel like exposition. It genuinely just feels
conversational.
It's just conversational.
Aren't they Mormon missionaries?
Yeah, it's Mormon missionaries, and then Hugh Grant is like a religious fanatic,
But
so he's like
psychopath.
He's like a sociopath more, because
he's trying to kill him.
It's confusing. He makes them choose religion. So, like, he's like, you either believe or you don't believe, and then he makes them choose, like, through a door and then makes them go through these trials. That's where the ending kind of lost me, because the rest of the movie is just genuinely two Mormons on a couch talking to a guy who's studied and researched every single religion in the world.
Okay.
And he's trying to basically tell them all religions are copied by the very first religion of Jesus Christ or Buddha or whoever you believe in, but all religions are just carbon copies or different variants of the main Bible. And he's basically trying to convince these Mormons about that.
Yeah, okay.
But he's trying to basically convince them about how, like, you can't believe in just one God and all this, and basically tries to question their faith. And it's one of those classic scripts where, like, one person's already thinking about it, one is super into it, and then there's the guy that's breaking the balance.
Yeah.
So the character development, the character writing is great. And the conversation is just genuinely one of those where, like, it's not podcasty, but it's one of those where, like, if I was watching a podcast and they were having this conversation, I'd be so fucking locked in that I forgot. I would feel like I'm a part of the conversation.
I know what you mean.
And that's why I was like, I can't put that movie in my top 5, but it's an honorable mention because it's still a fantastic movie.
Do you have any others? An album? I know you didn't listen to it, but Found Heaven by Conan Gray was almost my number 5. It's the only record I've bought this year.
Yeah, another one of my honorable mentions was GNX.
I had that at your number 5 and swapped it out.
Yeah, GNX was another honorable for music was an honorable mention that I was like, I just really like it, but it came out too late in the year that I already had most of my list solidified, and I was like,
I really like that album.
I can't really swap it out. But
what are some other honorable mentions?
But yeah, film wise, I think the only other really honorable mention I have would be like,
I don't even know. I haven't seen anything this year.
Honestly, because I'm a horror fanatic and I love well-made slasher movies, I'm going to put Terrifier 3 in my honorable mention.
I know you like that.
Honestly, because it wasn't just like...
And the first one's shocking, enjoyable but bad.
I love the Terrifier movies. The first one is genuinely just Art the Clown killing. It doesn't... Like, if you genuinely want to watch the movie for the stories, you start with Terrifier 2, because that's where the story actually starts and they connect it to 3. 1 was just a movie that, just like Back to the Future, and a bunch of other...
$200.
Yeah, it was just... Well, I meant more of, movies that were pitched and picked up, but no one thought it would fucking go anywhere. Like Star Wars, Back to the Future, like all these things. The guy was like, I'm going to make a low-budget horror movie. I want to introduce a clown, but change him so he's a mime, he's a psychopath, whatever. And that movie is so poorly acted, so poorly made. But the guy that plays Art the Clown is so good that you're invested, and the gore is so well done that you're also invested that it was a decent movie. Then Terrifier 2 came out. They started adding a story to it. The acting got a little bit better. The budget got a little bit better.
A little more money.
And I was like, okay, I'm starting to fuck with this. They're like giving us something going. Cool. Terrifier 3 did what 28 Days Later is doing. The budget's upped, but they still kept that shitty look, kind of. So the camera, like the camera, still look like it's a fucking college camera, and they're set up in these terrible shots. Like the acting is a bit better. It still has its parts, but like there's parts of the audio that sounds like someone fucked up the boom mic.
Oh,
like
God.
there's still parts and shit that feel like a low budget horror film of the classic feel of the first Terrifier, but the story was actually really fucking good. The gore was incredible, and it's got me hyped for another Terrifier. And I'm a big fucking fan. I'm a big fucking fan of good movies like that. Honestly, that being said, I'm putting Substance in my honorable mentions as well.
Okay.
That being said, I'm gonna put, because that was a fantastic body horror film.
We'll-
so I'm gonna put Substance in at my number 3 for honorable mentions.
We'll wait.
So that's
to talk-
6,
we'll
7,
we'll
8.
be talking more about that. But
I love Substance.
I think we should start. So I think the way we do it is I say what I think your number 5 is, and then you'll reveal and talk about it, and then we'll go back and forth.
Okay.
Okay. So I thought your number 5
For music,
movies first.
movies first. Okay.
I thought your number 5 was Inside Out 2.
No, it's
The,
on.
the order is going to be the issue for me.
Yeah, it's on there, but it's not the right number.
Okay.
Not the right number.
What is it? What's your number 5? You're not switching it now.
I'm not. I was just like, fuck. I was just looking at
No, let's go.
Okay.
What's your number 5?
Deadpool Wolverine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say if I've got it down, but it's on there.
But yeah, it was a hard. This is the list that I last night was like I need to swap things around.
Your movies?
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
They were solidified, but the order was where
okay.
I didn't have that solidified fully. Because
Yeah, it's good.
At the very beginning of the year, I was like, "Oh, this movie's my favorite," and then as the year progressed, my list was swapping.
What did
around.
you enjoy about Deadpool and Wolverine?
But that's what I'm getting to. Deadpool and Wolverine. I could have easily put this bitch at number 1, and the reasons I didn't though, and why it's at number 5. It's a incredible movie, perfect comic book movie, perfect send off movie to the Fox universe. But script wise,
Yeah, we've discussed that.
Yeah.
It has some issues.
it has some issues.
Yep. The character development for
No, I think the character. I actually think the character development and the cameos were.
I think
were,
that.
were
I think the
well-
Wolverine's writing
were
is
well
not
done.
good in the movie.
I still just don't. I know. I
It's
like.
not great.
I like it.
It's Logan again.
Whatever.
It works, but still.
But yeah, there's parts. There's parts that are weird, but the reason I still think it's a perfect movie is because for me, X-Men is what got me into Marvel. My dad introduced X-Men when I don't even fucking know, like however young I was.
It came out before we were alive.
Yeah, obviously. It's been out since the 80s with the old comics. And
No,
the,
I think.
the
Oh, I
show
think
and
we're talking
stuff.
about the movies.
Well, I'm just talking about the X-Men in general.
Yeah.
My dad showed me some comics growing up. Showed me some movies, the Wolverine ones, of course, or the Hugh Jackman ones, of course.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it, and then that's when around 2008, the MCU starts and Iron Man comes out. I'm like, all right, I want to get more invested in Marvel because I had read about some of these characters in my other comics, and that's just what sparked my love for Marvel.
And Spider-Man movies too.
And Spider-Man. Spider-Man's always been my number one.
Yeah.
Since I was a
Me
little
too.
kid, like that was the very first thing I was ever shown, and as every kid, it's the thing that gives you hope.
If I say this, do you agree? It's your number 5 movie of the year. Was it? I'm willing to bet because it is mine. It was the most enjoyable theater experience you had this year.
Oh, yeah,
in
for
terms of a
sure.
watch, absolutely.
For sure.
And I watched it again on my birthday. It's
Marvel
just
movies.
so fun.
Marvel movies always will be the number one best theater experience of the year,
unless they're horrible.
unless it's a bad one, of course. Because if it's really well done and well, like it's not just fan service, it's well written, like Deadpool and Wolverine,
Yeah.
you're gonna get incredible reactions out of people, and it's just a great experience.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that's obviously experience. Experience was great, but for me, it was really just it truly came down to script. The other films on my list are just like so much better.
Okay.
Even Heretic's better well written. Like it's just
Yeah.
better written.
Just didn't enjoy it as much.
But I just still enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine more because of
All
it
right.
being a send off to what I grew up on with the Fox movies and X-Men and all that. So
Okay. Now, what do you think my number 5 is?
you put Gladiator in the honorables, so I can't put that.
No, you should. Oh, you don't have it written down.
Huh?
You don't have it written down. What do you think mine are?
No, I
Oh,
was
I have
just,
yours. I have yours.
I was
written
just
down.
because, like I said, if I tried to think about it, I was gonna fucking stress. I was gonna think about it off the spot. Because, all right, what? Just tell me all the movies you've seen this year.
That's basically. I'm going to tell you the order. My top 5.
Give me 10, and don't give me an order of your top 5.
Horizon. What that?
That's not going on there.
Netflix movie. Beetlejuice. Inside Out 2. Wicked. Gladiator. Dune. Deadpool and Wolverine. I know there's more. We'll go with that.
Dune 2.
No.
No.
Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2. Okay.
Inside Out 2. I know we're going to be talking about it more. But to keep
Why would
this
you
brief,
say that?
To keep this brief, it's really good. I sat next to you and with Steven, and we cried. Well, we cried.
I forgot we all
Steven
went to
didn't
see
cry.
that.
Um,
Sorry, I just saw it like 4 times, so I forgot
That's
who I
true.
saw it with.
We cried. It's good. It's a great, not only for it being a sequel, it's just a great Disney movie. That I'll keep it at that. I think your number 4 is Dune 2.
Wow, you got that right.
There you go.
You got that
There
right.
we go.
You got that spot on. Spot on. Yeah, for me, reasons Dune 2's there. That was
Your number 4 spot, yeah.
That was the movie that I said at the very beginning of the year. I knew off rip. I was like, oh, this is movie of the year. I was fully 100% certain that I wasn't going to change my mind and Dune 2 was going to get that good. But then some other movies came out. Not to say that those movies trumped it or made it worse,
Now that I know, I've got your top 3.
but fuck, man.
It is so good.
That is the damn closest to a Marvel theater experience is Dune 2. Seeing those sandworms on screen in IMAX. Because this was when I was working at Sinopolis. I saw this shit at the midnight premiere that we get to see early for feedback in IMAX in a room just alone.
Yeah.
With my other coworkers, but even then, there was like probably 10 of us in there. It still felt like a full theater with the reactions of people just because of the shit you see. And
yeah, that's cool.
Dennis Bellevue is incredible on the shots and everything. Like I love the sun glare. It's one of my favorite shots that he does in that movie. Whenever someone's like fighting off the spice or something, they have like that sun spot
that's
glare.
cool.
It's one of my favorite shots in all of the Dune movies. But that movie just has a way of making you feel everything. Like not to say like, oh, you feel how hot the sun is with the sun glare, but like this motherfucker's tripping off the spice.
Yeah.
We've all had that moment where we're fucking off the biggest fever because we're on like we have flu or something and we feel fucking disoriented like that. So it gives that feeling of like, oh, I know what that's like. Or drunk. And then like, I don't know, it really built on what the first movie was because the first movie, I love Zendaya, but she just looked like a fucking...
She was in it for like 5 minutes.
She was in it for like 5 minutes, and most of the shots were just her looking like a L'Oreal commercial. But seeing her character pick up on... And how just like the Penguin picks up from Batman, this one literally picks up right after fucking Dune 1. Like you're ending on that cliff where they fight and kill the guy.
And
then it literally starts immediately after where they're carrying his body to the water.
Yeah.
And that opening shot...
Okay, you're going to keep talking.
No, this is
going to be
my
a 2-hour
last. This is my last point on why it's number 4.
Okay.
But couldn't be any higher. That opening shot is the best opening shot of the year, aside from Deadpool and Wolverine.
What is it?
Just orange.
Doesn't it start with text?
Well, it starts with the power over spice, power over everybody, or whatever that thing that pops up.
Oh, it's just orange, and then they go to
just that orange filter on the screen. That one mountain and all these flying motherfuckers being sniped off the mountain.
That was cool.
Best opening of the year for me, aside from Deadpool and Wolverine's amazing intro as well. Best opening to a fucking movie.
Cinematically, yeah.
Cinematically was Dune 2.
Yeah.
And that's why it was still in my list, but it couldn't go any higher.
I mean, I watched it yesterday on a 55-inch TV, and it was still awesome. So
dude, that shit on IMAX was fantastic.
Yeah.
If they ever bring it back, you gotta go.
Okay, now what do you think my number 4 is?
it's just hard because you haven't seen a lot of things, so I really have to think about it because it's so vague on what you've seen. And I know Substance isn't going to be there because he fucking hated that shit.
Keanu hated that. I loved it. I didn't like the gore.
Oh, then Substance.
No.
Fuck!
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, I forgot that you said that was on your list.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. We've already talked about it. It's just so fun. And rewatching it on my birthday, I was like, it's just, I have my issues with the writing of it, but it's so fun. It's like, of a solo Marvel movie, it's up there, if not my favorite. So I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my new favorite Marvel movie. Not the best, but
your
it's my new favorite
yeah.
Marvel movie. The best
Okay.
Marvel movie is still Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Well, so for my guess for your third, I have Deadpool and Wolverine, but I know that's not it. So is it Inside Out too?
Yes, it is. Wow. Damn, you definitely know this top three.
I know your top two. Yeah.
You motherfucker, you know the top three now. If you just pick this and you know
I know
my
your favorite movie. Yeah.
You know my favorite
So,
movies already though.
We already talked about Inside Out too, but yeah.
Inside Out 2, reason it's on this list at all is, and this is gonna get a little personal, but I suffer from anxiety, really, really bad anxiety, and a little bit of depression. And for me, growing up in a Hispanic household, it's pretty hard to feel seen.
You're not white?
Shut the fuck up. It's pretty hard to feel seen with stuff like that because it's just so engraved into our parents, I guess, generations that like,
Yeah.
ponte las pilas. Like, just fucking, like, you're not depressed. It's that damn phone. Like, what does that mean? Ponte las pilas is basically mean, like, the direct translation is put on your batteries, but it basically, it's essentially the same thing as, like,
That's fucking
get your
awesome.
shit together.
Okay. But
Or, like, get a move
so
on.
good.
But, yeah, that's the direct translation. But in Spanish, it's...
I'm going to start
it's
saying that in
yeah.
English. That's pretty good.
Put your batteries on, fool. But no, yeah, for me...
That's pretty
like
good.
growing up in a Hispanic household, I was raised great, but when it comes to mental illness, it's one of those things that it's just kind of thrown aside by your parents.
Yeah.
And your dad may be going through it, but he won't talk about it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like I'm sure my dad probably goes through things like that, but he just doesn't talk about it.
And it's a generational
So,
thing, too.
yeah, and
I
it's
feel like
ge-
our
and-
generation
yeah.
overall.
So it was hard. Of course, there was friends here and there that suffered through it, but when you all go through it, you don't really want to talk about it. So everyone just kind of
Yeah.
goes through it simultaneously
Alone.
in silence, alone.
It's terrible.
So seeing this movie, just how I felt watching the first one, the emotions are so well presented, but I've never felt that, at least for me, how anxiety is, has ever been depicted in any way that could help.
Not in Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso was close.
Ted Lasso was
Ted Lasso was close, but I don't suffer as much from panic attacks like he does. It's more just anxiety.
And that's why it did for me.
For me, it's more, I've had anxiety attacks and panic attacks, but I don't suffer, like it doesn't often get to that point for me like it does Ted Lasso. So that's why it wasn't like, I connected to it, but it wasn't like, okay, I
Yeah.
see it. Like Inside Out, like from the card scene
It's
where
so,
they're in
like,
the
to
room
a
with the
T, it's so-
projections, from the way that she feels when she's like, I have to get it right, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
And the overthinking, the mind racing, her thinking that her stealing the book from the teacher to see if she was picked is a good idea when it's gonna fucking probably ruin everything. Like, I
Yeah.
go through that shit on a daily basis with everything, regardless if it's a friendship, a relationship, work. Like, if I start to feel something, a small minuscule thing changes out of pace or out of the ordinary or out of the routine of what's going on, I notice the small little things and it spirals me into anxiety and it spirals all these things. And all of that was depicted in order
So well.
perfectly as well, but also just shown in such a fucking perfect way that I couldn't do anything but cry.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just happy or like it was all types of happy,
Yeah, I
sad, like proud, felt like scene.
Yeah.
All in one cry, and it was liberating.
Yeah.
And it made me. It was one of those movies where it just ends, and I'm like, wow, I just thank you. Like if I could fucking meet
Yeah.
some Pixar person, I'd probably cry to them and say thank you for doing this.
Like I remember when it was over, I looked at there was like a couple and I was sitting next to the mom and I look at her, I was like, that was more for the adults. And she goes, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She goes, I like them more than the kids did.
Yeah. Yeah. Inside Out 1 did a good job with the balance. I think Inside Out 2 did a great job of just being like, all right, this is for the adults.
Yeah.
This one's for y'all. and I loved it.
So yeah, Inside Out was your third favorite movie of the year.
Yes.
Um,
That one is what started off as my first for the year. Dune 2 first, and then Inside Out 2, and then it swapped around in the list.
yeah.
But
So what do you think my third favorite movie of the year is? When we saw this, I told you it was probably still my favorite movie of the year. Even though I didn't like one big part of it. Because I can't watch that stuff.
oh, The Substance.
Yeah.
Okay.
My third favorite movie of the year.
Wow.
It's-
I didn't even think you were gonna put that on your list because for some reason I kept
Keanu
thinking,
hated
yeah,
it.
I know Keanu
I
hated it,
loved
but
it.
for some reason I thought you also did because you
I
don't
loved
like
it.
body horror or
That
any
I
of that
can't
stuff.
watch.
But
It's just so
didn't
well
even-
made.
oh, hi, Bubba. I didn't even think at all that you were gonna put it on your list, let alone have it that high up. That's surprising.
I like
But man,
the more
that
I
makes
think
me
about
so
it.
happy
It's
too.
the music's so good. It's so well shot. It's so well acted. It's just such a well-made, well-written movie. It's so tight. The one part of the movie that is so unrealistic is it's snowing in Los Angeles at the end or at the beginning.
Not just both the
beginning,
end
yeah.
and the beginning. It's snowing in
But
Los
other
Angeles.
than that, it's
Yeah.
just such a well-made movie.
Yeah. But honestly, now that I've seen it again,
You saw? Oh yeah, you saw
I think
that.
I've
Yeah.
seen it like 4 times now.
Jesus.
Dude, I'm telling you, that shit doesn't bother me at all.
I
you
know
se-
that.
Have you? Well, actually, you probably haven't. But there's a movie on Netflix called The Green Inferno that was so
No.
gory that it literally got like investigated because they thought people
I
were actually dying
Can't
on
do
set.
it. I don't like it. I know it's
I'm
fake.
saying, I can see shit like that because for me it's a movie. I genuinely can turn my brain off and be like, this is not happening.
If it's comedy too, I can like in Deadpool and Wolverine, that doesn't bother me because I know it's comedic or like action.
Oh, you mean like when he ripped the flesh off of Chris Evans?
Yeah, that doesn't. I don't care about that because it's so in its own universe, and they're also superheroes, and they're. But like, I guess The Substance is still like sci-fi horror, but it's so much more grounded in reality, and like seeing all the, like it's more. It's meant to gross you out and be more viscerally.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy that.
What I was saying on after like my 4th watch,
I've still seen it once.
I think they kind of did that on purpose of the snowing in LA. Like I for the longest time I was like, okay, these aren't American.
The French.
Yeah, they're not American writers or directors or anything. So I was like, they probably just got it wrong. But because of the ending of how fucking out of this world it is and just how butt fucking sane it gets compared to the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I think they kind of did that on purpose. I think they did the snowing in LA on purpose to be like already letting you know this shit is not real at all.
I don't. I get it, but I don't because there was. Also,
I only say that because they also ended the movie on how it started. So if they wanted to make it that important, why the fuck would they just throw in snowing in LA?
to show time passing.
Yeah, but if
They're-
it's something as fucking like, no, you don't have to be from the U.S. to know it doesn't fucking snow in L.A. It
I
never
know.
snows here.
Yeah.
It doesn't really snow in California in other than like the mountainy areas and like the
Yeah.
higher elevated areas. But L.A. being in just the midnight, everyone
Doesn't
knows it don't
snow.
snow here. Tell me a
Yeah.
single movie you've seen that it snows in L.A. It doesn't. It's always New York
Yeah.
or Chicago.
Okay. So I thought you were. Do you got anything else to say about Substance? Because I don't think we're going back to it, unless it's in your top two. and
No,
know
I
it's
already
not.
I saw it. It's in my honorable mentions.
Oh yeah,
already.
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about this for a minute, but your second favorite movie of the year was Wicked.
Yes. I
God,
knew-
I'm good.
I knew you'd knew this.
God,
yeah, you
I'm
definitely know
good.
my list then. But yes, Wicked was my.
So I
number
had one order messed up. Yeah, I'm good. Wicked is. Go ahead.
I hate musical movie adaptations, but I fucking loved this movie. I think they did everything right. I've never even seen the musical. I've just
Yeah.
heard the music, and I know about the musical. I know about its history. I know about Ariana's history with the character
I
of
love
Linda.
that. Yeah.
And always wanting to play it and how emotional it was for both her and Cynthia to get these roles and everything. Like, everything around the movie is already emotional and powerful.
And
And the
it's
movie
so
itself and the story of Wicked
so
is
good.
also emotional and powerful. And when you put that much heart into a movie, it shows. And man, does this just give love to the theater community.
Yeah.
Because it's shot gorgeously. It's a musical, but it feels like a damn movie. I mean, the opening shot is an action shot about the Wicked Witch of the West. Like, that movie throws you in immediately with that, and then the fucking Ariana's, the Wicked Witch of the West is dead.
So the musical starts, but
I know, but I'm saying the way that the fucking, like, the way it's shot and stuff, I'm
but
like,
I
it
like
feels,
how the flying monkeys crash through the window.
yeah, and then you get that little, like, you feel like you're on the Soarin' ride from Disney flying through Oz, and then you get the classic crew walking on the yellow. Like, man, it was just
so well done.
so well made. Not a single person did bad. There's not a single extra. I was paying attention because I've seen this movie also like 3 times. I was paying attention after my first watch. Dude, I have the Regal Pass.
I know.
I just go.
That's the whole
fucking
point. Crazy.
But well, I go to sleep late, so if my only time of the day is midnight, I go to late night showings.
That's true.
But
It's so well done.
but like, man, there were like after my first watch, I was paying attention to all the other things, and there's not a single extra that goes unseen. Like that from the beginning opening shot when they're panning through everybody, everyone is doing their part, and it shows how genuinely like. This movie and Gladiator both show how important extras are when they do their job.
Yeah.
Because if one extra...
Especially in a musical.
When one actor is doing less than the others, you're going to look like someone who doesn't want to be at work.
Yeah.
But when you give it your all and you really make it feel like that, you make it believable and you make that world feel real.
Yeah.
I believed every Munchkin. I believed every single person from Oz. I believed every single person from Emerald City. Like, I believed every single performance, every line that was spoken, every lyric that was sung. And oh my God, from the original Broadway like songs to the music to the movie one, I think they're both such great albums. And how different they are in voice from Ariana to the original cast. And man, the inclusion of Idina Menzel and the other actress that plays
Kristen
Glinda,
Chenoweth.
wow, that shit made me cry when I saw Idina Menzel's face, and I started crying. I was like, no way, no fucking way. And Defying Gravity, obviously, like it was genuinely just.
I'm excited for part 2.
Perfect musical movie. I have absolutely no notes about that. There's not a single bad thing. After seeing it a few times, there's not a single bad thing I can come out. I can just say it was a phenomenal, perfect movie, but it did not beat my number 1.
I've got one note. And it's random. But it's just there's one note in Popular that they tuned wrong.
That was...
Have you heard that?
I will say, I guess, if I got to give it a nitpick, my one nitpick is also Popular because it's my favorite song in the musical. So I love the original. I love the original version.
That and Loathing.
Yeah, I love the original version much, much better because I just think the original actress's voice is just Glinda. That's all I can... The only way I can explain it is her voice is Glinda.
Yeah.
Ariana's voice also works, but something about just the original voice is just solidified Glinda for me, so her singing is solidified in my head.
Yeah.
I don't like the end of Ariana's Popular with the la la, and she keeps changing the pitch, and then they slow it down to get to the popular as me, and she does her big thing at the end. I think the lighting, beautiful. I think the entire like choreography, everything, the music was done. My one little nitpick is I don't like that version of Popular. I like parts of it, like when she says Popular, right?
We gotta cover. There are 10 albums we also have to discuss, and we're not done with movies.
I'm just passionate about this one.
What do you think my number 2 is?
Fuck. Yeah, he's singing it in there.
We discussed it because you went into great detail about it on your list, but it has not appeared on mine yet.
I went into great detail on my list?
Mm-hmm. I
didn't already say Deadpool Wolverine, did I?
You said it. I've said it.
Oh. Motherfucker, the only other movie I've talked about was Dune 2.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
I thought I already said that.
You said it. I haven't. It's my number 2.
I thought I already said that on your list and got it wrong.
Yeah, because I haven't.
I thought it wasn't on your list is what I mean.
It is.
Oh, fuck.
My second favorite movie of the
Damn it,
year
I
is
didn't know
Dune
it was-
2. I watched it yesterday. That's how good it is, though.
Damn,
I watched it on a 50-inch, 55-inch
I don't think I know at all what your number one is going to be
TV.
then. Like, at all.
Oh, my God.
I keep forgetting what movies you've seen already because
Okay.
of how little movies
You're going to
you've
feel like a
seen.
moron.
I am going to feel like a moron.
But Dune 2, I watched it on a 55-inch whatever TV yesterday. It hasn't even been... It's been hardly 24 hours since I've seen it, and it's my second favorite movie. That's how good it is. The reason it's not... If I would have seen it in theaters, it probably would be my favorite movie of the year. It's the same criticism I have with the first Dune. It's just their style of storytelling. Sometimes it's so outside of it. It's so its own thing. Like Harry Potter takes place on Earth. Star Wars has enough where you're like, this makes sense. There's enough to background. But Dune is so its own thing. It takes place so far in the future that everything that they just give you information and that it's hard to keep track of, but they just expect you to follow through with it. I respect that as a storyteller, but with how much they throw at you all the time, it does get hard to follow. That's the only criticism I have, but I've read the first book. It's so fucking long. It's also not that great. At least I don't think so. But
I think I know which your number one is, actually.
But
if I'm wrong, then I don't know.
I loved Dune 2. Your number one is Saturday Night.
Yeah.
That was, no shit.
Now,
Still haven't seen it.
that one was hard to swap with Wicked because
Okay.
once I saw Wicked, I had a contender for throwing Saturday Night out. Because the moment I saw Saturday Night for the first time, I instantly knew. I was like, I do not care what comes out for the rest of the year. It cannot beat this movie.
Have you watched it since Wicked?
Yeah, I saw Saturday Night. Saw one time with all of us, and then I saw it again with Triana, and then I saw it again. I don't know with who else, and then after that I saw it with another friend. So I've seen it a few times. Took a few people to see it.
But after Wicked?
Not since after Wicked, but it still couldn't be blown out. But for me, the reason it just couldn't is because very similarly to Wicked, where I think I have genuinely no notes. After 4 viewings, I have absolutely no notes whatsoever. I think that movie from start to finish is perfect. You can fucking fight me on it. I don't care. But I think from start to finish...
So I should watch it.
Yes, I think from start to finish, that movie is incredible. And also, similarly to what I said with Wicked, where every performance feels just so well done and natural, I think what blows it out of the park with Saturday Night is this is real people versus character adaptations. Because character adaptations happen all the time.
But real
Back
people...
to the Future is very different from the musical version, and I still love those performances. But when you're doing real people...
It's a lot harder.
You can't change it. You literally have to be just like that person, or else you're going to be like, oh, it looks fake.
Yeah.
Like, if Austin Butler didn't spend 3 years doing Elvis, I would have fucking hated that movie.
Yeah.
Because I would have been like, this is just a phony. I don't care. Every single actor was not that fucking actor. They became that goddamn person. I knew, like... The guy that plays Chevy Chase is the guy that plays every fucking villain you can think of in Gotham, and he was the Riddler, and like he just does a bunch of like villainous roles and smaller roles.
Yeah,
that man became Chevy Chase. Whoever played Billy Crystal, I felt like I was watching Billy Crystal. Like every single actor, literally just honed in, locked the fuck in, and said, "I am this person. This is gonna be me during filming." And you don't notice it because the entire movie is literally just the hour and a half that led up to Saturday Night's first episode. The movie is an hour and a half. And throughout the movie, they'll have time checks where it'll be like something big happens. They pause.
15 minutes to showtime or whatever.
And it'll be like that, but it'll just show like 10:35 or 11:15. So it just gets closer to that 11:30.
Oh, yeah, 11:30, yeah.
But holy fuck, it's so intense, like Uncut Gems, that the first time they ever popped up with a thing on screen that said 10:20, I was like, it's only been 20 fucking minutes, bro. Like, it's one of those, it's an hour and a half. It is a short ass movie.
It's the 90 minutes that lead up to
it. It is a short ass movie, but man, it feels like so long because it's just like uncut in a good way.
That's what she said.
Shut the fuck up.
You said it feels so long.
Shut the fuck up. But like in a good way, it you don't feel like you. I guess yes, you feel like I was like, holy fuck, it's only been 20 minutes, but it wasn't like it's only been 20 minutes. Fuck, that felt long as fuck. I was like, all of this was packed into 20 fucking minutes, bro. Like when you watch the Fishes episodes on The Bear, you're like, that's only like a 40-minute episode, and it feels eternal because it's so well written and so natural.
Something's always happening.
Something's always happening. It's so natural, and that's what Saturday Night did perfectly. And there's just not a single minute of that movie that I'm not invested or that something could distract me, like a text or somebody whispering. Like if someone's trying to talk to me during this movie, I'm going to tell you to shut the fuck up. And I don't do that with a lot of other movies because I can turn it off, be like, yeah, what, and come like.
Yeah.
If I start watching Saturday Night from the moment it starts till it ends, just like Back to the Future, I am so locked in that I could be in a room full of people, and the movie ends, everyone could have left the room, and I'm going to be like, what the fuck, where'd everyone go? Because I was just so locked into this movie. And the reason
You do that all the time.
No.
On your phone.
Huh?
On your phone, locked in, and then shit goes on around you.
Yeah. That's a good example. Like when I'm on my phone and I'm locked the fuck in, it's just like that. Like, but with movies, it's harder unless it's something like Star Wars or Back to the Future, where it's something that I'm so nerdy about that I'm going to be like, okay, I'm paying attention every second. But the reason that that's at my number one and Wicked isn't is because of the realism. Because this one's real people, a real story.
Okay.
And the reason that it just trumped Wicked is because it was real more than the other. That's the only reason. I think they're on par. I would have put them both at one if I could. I think they're on par for movie of the year.
How that works.
I know. But if I could give them both, I would. But number one had to go to Saturday Night because of it being based on a true story, and it was just
There you go.
not a single bad moment of that movie.
No.
You will be laughing. You could be tearing up a little bit. There's some emotional moments, and there's definitely characters you can relate to.
Jesus Christ, Siskel and Ebert. Let's go.
That's it.
What do you think my number one is?
Call me crazy, but Beetlejuice?
Wicked, idiot.
Oh, I forgot that you didn't have that on your list. But yeah, Wicked.
You fucking moron.
I forgot the movie. Dude, you told me 10 movies, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to remember this. And then
I also texted you after I saw Wicked and said this is easily my favorite movie of the year.
Must have missed
God,
that.
you're so pretty.
Must have missed that.
Yeah, it's so good. I enjoyed every minute of it.
I think if you watch Saturday Night, you'd probably be pretty similar to me and be like, yeah, it's could be up there.
But
You probably
even if it's
Wicked
at that
is
level,
still gonna be
it's
your
not going to
favorite.
beat Wicked.
Yeah, Wicked
Because
still gonna be your favorite.
opposed to you, I don't like theater. I love musicals, like film musicals.
I love musicals. I don't like film adaptations of musicals.
Yeah, I do. So, I was going into it excited. Wicked isn't my favorite musical, but then it started. I was like, holy fuck. It's so... I was like, the easiest way to describe of why it's my favorite is it feels like I was watching an old MGM musical. From Singing in the Rain. Like everything was so large. Obviously, it's a modern movie, but everything felt so large and so no detail was spared. It was a super expensive movie. It was the most expensive musical film I'm pretty sure ever made. Mm-hmm. It's also
How much was it?
They filmed both. It was $350 million to film the two. But
that's more than a Marvel movie.
But in 10 days, it became the highest grossing musical film of all time.
Oh yeah, that's gonna easily break $1 billion if it hasn't already.
It is just so.
Yeah, what does that make it? If it breaks
good.
$1 billion, that'll be like the 5th movie of the year to break $1 billion.
I think the third.
No, Inside Out 2.
And Deadpool.
Dune. Deadpool.
Oh, Dune made $1 billion?
I think I could be wrong.
No, when we are going to be at a 2-hour episode, put the phone down.
If I'm not
Wicked,
guys, don't quote
it's
me.
so fucking good. I was nervous for
Nervous.
Well, I was gonna say Ariana, and then I combined it.
I was very nervous for
nervous.
Ariana too, but man,
She knocked
killed it.
No,
She
and then
knocked that
after
shit out of the
seeing
park.
it, and then going in more and being like, I knew that she had always wanted to play Glinda.
Yeah.
Going in, and then after coming out and being like seeing everything that she, like how much she wanted to play it, it makes sense why she did so good. Like she is both performances are Oscar-worthy performances.
The Oscar part I don't compare, but the other part of it I compare to like the Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool and Channing Tatum with Gambit. It's things that they were so passionate about and wanted to do that when you see it on screen and you see it made, it's so well done. Ryan Reynolds perfected Deadpool on screen. You can see how much fun Channing Tatum was having as Gambit and how much he cared about the character and how well he portrayed it. It was bound to happen with Ariana. That's why I was a little worried.
Yeah.
But knowing the backstory and growing up with her on Victorious and knowing that she would post her videos to Vine of her singing Wicked songs and like she had that one tweet of her saying like, just watch Wicked for the second time. It reminds me how I always want to play Glinda one day.
Yeah.
And then you see it.
It's so cool.
From the opening scene of her being Glinda the Great at this point, or Glinda the Good in the future scene, just from her like, okay, if there's nothing further, I'm going to go now. And then is it true that you were her friend? And what? I was like, oh, she's Glinda. This is going to be great.
I'm excited. Both of them, her especially, we'll see how good her acting is in the second part. Because do you know what happens in the second part?
I don't know. Okay. I've never seen the music. I've literally just heard the music.
Her acting will be pushed further in the second half.
Ooh. Is the scene that was in the
Vision?
Yeah, not the Vision. Before she says it was true.
Or like when they flash.
We met in school when they flash when
yeah.
she's putting on the hat and they're in like this foresty thing. Is that part of part 2, you think? Okay.
You're going to see there's also stuff that runs into the Wizard of Oz. So
I figured.
So the stuff that happens in the Wizard of Oz happens during the second part.
Oh.
You'll see. But
so
you're going to get to see their perspective on everything.
I really hope some of this money wasn't used on de-aging or CGIing Dorothy.
Judy Garland's been dead since the 70s.
I'm aware.
That's not de-aging.
That's why I said then CGI.
It won't be.
Because if they pull
pull
a Tarkin,
they've already cast the girl.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they haven't announced it yet, but I'm pretty sure the girl at the premiere.
If it isn't the girl from SNL, I don't want it.
I don't fucking know.
Because the girl that played Dorothy on SNL has the perfect Dorothy voice.
Okay.
Just saying.
All that to say, Wicked is my favorite movie of the year. I'm also so excited. Actually, I'm not going to talk about my family. That's a little personal. I won't get into that.
Okay.
Because people can kick rocks and they don't need to know all that. Wicked's my favorite movie.
Fair enough. I was also, this is something I was thinking the other day on my third watch of Wicked, but I was like, wait, now that this one's a movie, we have like a whole universe of Wizard of Oz movies now that are connected because Wicked is connected to Wizard of Oz. Return to Oz is canonically connected to the first Wizard of Oz. The Disney sequel to the first Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I ain't never fucking seen that.
It's so good. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It is like freaky.
Oh, I'm good.
It is like a freaky horror.
So it's like
kind of spin of
like
Oz.
The book.
Yeah. Like there's a lady that could take her head off. She has different heads. It's so creepy, but I fucking love it. But that movie is a direct sequel.
Oz the Great and Powerful, or Oz the
Great and Powerful.
That movie's not very good.
It's not very good, but it's technically a prequel of how Oz got to Oz.
Did you see the thing? Where,
but I'm like, that's just crazy because all of the Wizard of Oz movies that are out are connected in some way, and I just think it's cool. Because the only one realistically that's not good is Oz. Powerful, the Great and Powerful, and it's not a terrible movie. It's an enjoyable watch. But like Wizard of Oz, great. I think Return to Oz is great. You might really like it, and then we got Wicked. So we got some good Wizard of Oz movies.
In One Day in the Emerald City, when they get to just one day, the song where they're like, he's reading the book. You know when he's going.
Yeah.
You know what he's saying?
No.
Omaha. That's where he's from.
I thought I heard that.
Omaha.
That's so funny.
That's what he's saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty good. Okay. We're going to pivot to movies or music. Do you have anything to say about movies the rest of the year before we cut? You got to make it quick because this is going to be probably approaching 2 hours.
Sequels ran the year and it made me very happy.
I don't love it. It was the 10 most grossing movies of the year, every single one is from an already established IP. I don't love that. But that being said, in terms of what was good, most of it. Despicable Me 4,
I didn't watch it.
neither did I. I heard it wasn't great. There was a few, but like in terms of sequels, there's been far worse years for sequels.
Oh, I completely forgot this came out this year. Now that I just remembered, but another honorable mention that I'll throw in before we move on is Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, you did see that?
That's my new favorite horror movie. I just completely forgot. Or other than Talk to Me, I still can't decide which one's my favorite.
And that wasn't in your top 5?
Talk to Me wasn't this year.
No.
No,
wait.
that's why I said it was an honorable mention.
Okay.
Because it's not perfect.
The movie that I really want to watch is I Saw the TV Glow. I know nothing about
I
it.
never saw it.
It looks really weird, and it
does
looks
look-
like my kind of movie.
It looks really good.
But
Cast
yeah,
is incredible too.
we're gonna move on to
Let's go to music.
albums.
You definitely know my top 2, but
This is gonna be rough.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to pull up
Okay.
Dude, I don't.
This you should have made a list of what you think my favorite. You should have gone through the list I gave
couldn't.
you.
I went through the list, bro. There's so many things on here that I haven't listened to, so I can't make an opinion on it if I don't know what the album sounded like.
That's fair. That's
That's why I was like,
I understand.
I wasn't gonna make a list for your top 5 music at all. I was going to for the movie. I didn't. Of
Look at the
course,
list
but
I gave you.
I'm looking at the list right now, but I'm
You
just
should
like,
be able to find my number 1, at least. You should know it. But so I started my favorite movies. I started with movies, so you'll start with music. So do you have your list?
I have my list. Yes.
So I thought your 5th favorite album of the year. This is gonna start things off. I'm either gonna fucking shit the bed on this list, which I think is where I'm going.
Oh yeah, I know what your favorite is.
Yeah. I think your 5th favorite album of the year is Charm.
And you would be wrong.
Fuck.
You would be wrong.
Fuck. Is it an honorable mention?
It's on the list.
Okay.
It just wasn't.
We'll
for
get
it.
there. Fuck.
It's F1 Trillion by Post Malone.
I was when we were sitting here talking about movies, I was like, I was debating putting that on there.
It's F1 Trillion by Post
I
Malone.
cannot believe that.
That was my most long-awaited album of the year.
That's fucking nuts.
My most long-awaited album of the year for me personally was F1 Trillion because I don't know why,
That's
but
insane.
ever since I moved here, I have been so much like I've been embracing so much more of my Texan side. And to hear that one of my favorite artists of all time, Post Malone, was going to make a country album, and I fucking loved I Had Some Help. I was like,
yeah.
all right, this album could be fucking great, could be fantastic. So not to say that it was like, it was just my most anticipated because of the genre change for him. And I was like, this is going to be incredible. And I loved it. And that deluxe, I loved it as well.
I thought sitting here, I was like, I bet it is on there. Fuck. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let me look at my list.
I think your number 5.
You've heard this album to help. You've heard this
I
album.
think your number 5 is Brat.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
I got one.
It was incredibly close.
Oh wait, we didn't do honorable mentions for
Yeah,
music.
we did. We went through them. I did.
I did. I forgot to
Found
put,
Heaven, Glimmer of God.
I forgot to put Billy's in there. Billy is one of my honorable mentions for music. It did not make my list.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. This ain't going well for Landon.
Billy's did not make my
fuck.
list.
Oh, I'm gonna shit the bed. God damn. Yeah, my 5th favorite album of the year is Brat. I thoroughly enjoy this album. I don't love the remix album, but I love like the production on this album. There's 2 albums that I would say edge this out production wise. It's so good. George Daniel helped produced it. My 1975. It's so good. Like
It really is.
there's the hits of
Just Brat though.
the album.
Not that remix album.
The album of the year is probably Brat. Like in terms of domination, in terms of popularity of pop culture, the only other album is Short and Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an honorable mention for me.
I never listened to it fully.
It's an honorable mention. But like how much it permeated pop culture, how good it is, like Apple, Sympathy is a Knife. There's so
Two of my favorite songs on that album.
Sympathy is a Knife is probably my favorite song. Apple, like first listening, Apple was my favorite. It's overplayed now. Sympathy is a Knife is my favorite.
Yeah. I think Sympathy of a Knife is my favorite as well, and that's the only other version of the remix one I didn't like.
Oh, I do like the remix. I like I like
that I did like, sorry.
the 1975 song on the remix album I like. I know it's not your style of their music. I like it a lot. But yeah, Brett, it's so well produced. She has albums that are more experimental. I don't love her sound. Like that sound specifically, it's not my thing. Club music is not my thing.
I love Charlie's voice.
She's an incredibly good singer, and the way they use auto-tune and all those effects doesn't feel just lazy like it can very easily. It's very well done. So my number 5 album of the year was Brat. Okay. Dude, this is going to be rough. Oh, fuck. Okay, so yeah. I guessed your number 4 was Hit Me Hard and Soft, and it's not. So is it Charm?
Yes. Yes.
So your 4th is Charm?
Yes.
Okay. I knew it was on there. I knew it was I knew it was going to be 4 or 5.
You know the true reason as to why.
Yeah, I just heard the story.
You know the true reason. You just heard the story as to why it's on this top 5. But
convince me.
Aside from that story, I love Clairo, but Clairo has always been one of those artists for me where it's like I'll hear one-on songs every year.
Pop music.
Like if she drops some shit that's like really popular and then it gets like traction on TikTok and someone uses it on a sound, I'm like, maybe I'll listen to that one song or whatever. But she's never been like an artist that I'm like, all right, something's coming out. I can't wait. I'm finna sit down and listen to this shit.
When I told you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when I was told this year that Clairo was gonna drop a new album, I was like, you know what? This could be.
Give it a shot.
I was like, I'll give it a shot. This could be the time that I dive into it. Because when I find artists that I truly, really, really like when I found Peter McPaulin for the first time, he had only like 3 songs out. And as he kept releasing songs, I liked it more and more. Yeah. And then when he dropped albums, I was like, all right, I'm going to sit and listen the entire thing.
Yeah. That's how it works. That's how you get fans.
So I was like, fuck it. I've heard some Clairo, but I've never, the difference with Clairo is I've never done that with past albums where I was like, all right, I'm going to try to listen to her old shit. I was just like, I'm going to wait for something new. So I waited for the new album. First time listening to it, I had already heard Sexy to Someone a million times. I thought that single was fantastic. So I was like, all right.
That's the best song on the album.
I was like, if this album is similar to...
There's one more... I can't remember. But yeah.
Count Up My Love is very similar. Count Up My Love is very similar to Sexy as Someone. Yeah. And I love those two songs.
Those are the best 2 songs on the album.
But yeah, it was one of those albums where it's good for any time, honestly. Like, it's good for just chill vibes. It's good for romantic vibes. It's good for just driving in the car at night, during the day, in the morning. Like, I can turn on that album at any time. Like, first thing in the morning, I don't want to listen to rap right away, or I don't want to listen to like house music or club music right away.
Lunatic. I will do that.
Nah, bro. In the morning, I'm throwing on Billy Joel, some nice jazz. Like I'm throwing on calm shit because when I wake up in the morning, and I mean morning, like when I'm going to Dunkin' at 8 in the morning, and I'm not a morning person.
Yeah,
like,
I'm aware.
I can't or like when I'm leaving my friend's house late as fuck, and I'm like super tired. I'm like, I can't listen to rap right now. Yeah. Like, I have to listen. I'll throw on Clairo, and I can listen to the whole thing and be chilling.
Okay, that's fair.
So that's for me.
Your number 4.
Number 4, just because it's one of those albums that just works with everything.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. You've mentioned your honorable mentions on here, and then you said stuff that you didn't put on your list. I will not get a number. I will not be getting one right until you're number 1.
This is very true.
I will not be. Will not.
This is
because
true.
Every guess I have now is I already know is not on your list.
I don't think you're gonna get my next one.
Well, I'm
my
not.
First 2, you probably will. I don't think you're getting
top
my
2.
Next
you think I know your second?
Yeah, I
don't. Because you already said it's not on there. Okay, we're moving on. My 4th. What do you think my 4th album of the year is? 4th favorite.
4th favorite.
You haven't.
I know you're number 1, so I can't pick that one.
You haven't heard it, but you've heard songs from it.
That's gonna help.
You've heard
I've heard songs from it. Short and sweet.
No,
that was an honorable mention. That's right.
I played some of the singles earlier this year in the car with you when they would come out. I sent you 2 pictures.
I know. I'm looking. Please don't tell
Also-
me.
also-
Please don't tell me
also-
it's
hold on.
tortured poets.
Hold on. No. To help you, there is not a male on this list.
Oh, it's not a male. Okay, perfect.
There's not one male. Actually, technically there is, but
Th-
it's not this one. This is a woman.
Just one person. Okay.
This is my running album of the year too.
Because I know you're number one, so I can't pick that one.
It's not that.
Please don't tell me it's tortured poet.
You already said that.
I
It's
didn't know
not.
if you answered or not. It's not gonna be Declan's then. I really need to listen to Declan's. I love it.
It's pretty good. Oh, that's an honorable mention too. It's pretty weird, but it's pretty good. It's about.
Is it Ariana's?
No, it's the most pure pop album in my opinion of this year. What are you on? Go to the other list. Look at that one. Look at the names.
Is it Gracie Abrams's?
Jesus Christ, it's radical optimism.
I thought that was gonna be your number one. That's why I wasn't picking that.
No.
Because Dua Lipa's your favorite.
Oh,
so
I'm in love with her. Yeah.
fuck. Yeah, I'm not getting the rest of this list either. But yeah, I was skipping over radical optimism because I thought
That's
that was gonna be your
it's the
number one.
most pure pop album of this year, in my opinion. I love it. It got shit on. Especially, it did really well overseas. It got shit on in America. I love it. It's my running out. If the thing is though, it's my most listened to album of the year.
Music is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. If I didn't start running this year to get in fucking pop star shape, abs, baby. Not yet, but I'm close. I kind of have abs. Regardless, there's only like 2 or 3 songs on the album that you couldn't run to. They're so up. It's just pure pop. I love it. It's so well produced. Tame Impala produced it. It's so well produced for pop music. The most that it can be. It's very well written. I love it. That's really it. And I love running to it. You get some fucking grooves, and it's groovy enough that like when I'm running, I can get cooking. It'll throw one of them will come on. I'll be okay. I got it. Yeah, I love this album. Nice. That's my number 4. I think you're no. I can't guess. I literally have for your number 3. I have Brat, and that's not on your list.
Nope.
What's your number 3?
Vultures 1.
Fuck! I had that on there and took it off.
There's not a single skip on Vultures 1 for me.
Okay, we won't get into that.
I thought it was great. And
Fuck, I had it on there.
And then Vultures 2 will take the number 1 on my top 5 worst. No,
Yeah.
just kidding.
Eternal will take 2.
Eternal will take 2.
Fuck.
But yeah,
Yeah.
you won't be hearing his top 5 worsts. You'll be hearing my top 5 worsts. Not
Go ahead.
today. That'll be on my own.
So why
stuff,
is Vultures
but-
1?
Because it is the most Kanye since old Kanye for me. I love Ty Dolla $ign. Always
That
have.
I can agree with.
I love Ty Dolla $ign. Always have since I was little. Listened to Saved a million times growing up, and I loved that album. And I think that's his first public album.
My nose.
Unless he started on SoundCloud like that or whatever. But I've always loved it. I've always loved the times that Kanye has used Ty. But I've always wanted a collab album. And of course, when these projects were being rumored to be made and all that, I was super excited because their voices blend incredibly. And at the time, nothing was going on with Kanye until
a lot was going on with Kanye.
Until Vultures 2 is what I'm saying. Vultures 2 is what got fucked up with all of his Galaxy Gas shit and all that. But I'm saying during Vultures 1, I guess the only thing you could really say was the stuff with his kid and Kim or whatever.
And all the anti-Semitism, the Jew stuff, and all the him going crazy. What are you talking about? He hasn't had a good year.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. We'll move on.
It's been like 2 years now.
We'll move on. I just thought it was a beautifully crafted album for me. There is not a single skip. And some of the most fucking hype songs some of the songs that are on my honorable list of song of the year were off that album.
Okay.
So
I
couldn't put it
thoroughly disagree, but I respect it.
Well, you also just don't like rap like that. And
there is an album I considered putting on my top 5 that was rap.
Really?
Yeah. I did.
Chromacopia?
Yeah.
Huh.
And GNX.
Okay. Yeah. GNX was very close for me, but Chromacopia honestly didn't even get close to being on my top 5. Yeah, I really liked it, but it did not get close to my top 5. I don't listen to Tyler like that. I also don't think it's his best work anymore. The more I listen to him, like it's some of his, but I don't think it's like
I like
when
it
I
the
first
most.
listened to it, I was like, oh, this is his best one. I don't think that anymore. But yeah, it was still not anywhere near my top 5.
GNX isn't my favorite Kendrick album.
Oh, it's not at all anywhere. Damn is gonna be his best until he drops something better than
Oh,
Damn.
I like Mr. Morale.
Really? You think that's his best?
It's my favorite.
It's a really good album,
my
but
favorite.
I don't think anything will beat Damn until something beats Damn.
Regardless, what do you think? What do you think my number 3 is?
Number 3, you said no women, so this really helps.
No, all women.
No, I mean, sorry, no men.
This one technically has a man in it because it's a group.
I literally was gonna ask Magdalena Bay's album.
Very good.
I
Very
was right.
good.
I mean, I did get something else.
And given recent events, my connection with this band has gotten a little closer. Having had one of the most embarrassing experiences of my life. Go watch that episode to hear that fucking story. I already loved the album before that.
But it just made you love it
I
more.
listened to it yesterday too, and I listened to it when that happened.
See,
after that happened,
your Magdalena Bay story is my Charm story.
no,
Very
but
different experiences.
Mine's worse.
Exactly. But, well,
No, mine
cannot-
involved other people.
we
move
won't
on.
get into that.
Yeah.
But mine could also be said that it involved other people as well. But regardless, we
Whatever.
both had an experience that enhanced the album.
Yours wasn't with Claro.
Okay, but we both had an experience that enhanced the album for us.
It didn't enhance.
that's what
the
I'm trying to
album.
say.
There's no there. If that wouldn't have happened, this would still be my number 3. I can
Okay.
tell you with confidence.
But it solidified it.
Yes, it just put them in my head more.
Okay.
Because I wanted to jump into a plane engine for about a solid 5 hours of my life.
Gotcha.
So, yes and no. And now every time I watch their stories on Instagram, I'm like, they don't like me. Which probably, again, it's probably all in my head.
Remember you.
Exactly. It's all in my head. It's anxiety. I'm in therapy. I'm working through it. Getting through it. But it's, so we'll get into my reasoning as we hit my top 2. In terms of the best produced album of this year, it is this album. It is pure synth pop. It is so experimental. It's so fucking well done. It's so well
Man, I gotta listen
produced.
to this album then.
It's so good. It like nothing feels ignored. Every second of the entire album feels like it had all like effort and love just poured into it. And it's like if you go read a bunch of the lists that are coming out for the best albums of the year, best songs of the year, a lot of
Dude,
a lot of
I
their
saw
a lot
some
of the
really
album is
crazy
on
ones for movies.
there. Like what?
I don't know. There's certain news outlets that do stuff for movies that are just putting some of the most wild shit on their favorite movies of
That
the year.
they always do.
And I'm just like, this is not right.
It's not. It is more experimental. It's not pure pop, but it is, in my opinion, full stop. There's one album that gives me pause that we'll get into, but
This motherfucker's having a nightmare right now.
full stop. His tail's wagging.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's a nightmare. Diesel.
Well,
Um,
he's asleep.
full stop.
He doesn't wag his
Best
tail.
produced album of the year.
I'll have to check it out for sure then.
I don't. Your number 2 is I don't know. The Future album.
No,
What is it?
it's Glimmer of God.
Really? Fuck! I didn't even think about that. I didn't think you liked it that much.
You know my number 1, so I'm
I
gonna
do.
vaguely say it. But just like my number 1, it's one of those albums that took
I
me by.
can't.
It's
I
one of
didn't
those,
think you liked
dude.
it
It's
that
one of the,
much.
It's one of those albums that took me by storm first listen. That I was like, wait a second.
It is It's a crazy first listen experience.
I was like, wait a second. I like this so much more than I
because
thought I was going.
starting
to.
off with Darwin, you're like, this song's fire, but then you're like, the rest of the album couldn't be this good.
Because
And then this like it
the reason
keeps
this is
hitting.
crazy. The reason this is crazy. I didn't listen to this album. My first time listening to this full album was a week ago.
Mine was yesterday.
Mine was a week ago, and it was because Murado had shown me Darlin', and
Yeah.
I was like, this song's really
So
good.
good.
And I just kept listening to it again and again. And then he engraved in my brain that this Thursday is the Gene Dawson concert for like $40. And I was like, you know
Are you
what?
going?
I was like, I might go because I was like for Yeet, When Yeet was still kind of
That'd be cool.
Like
That's
when,
a concert.
yeah, when
do
Yeet
that.
was still kind of small, his concerts were literally like $15.
Yeah.
I could
That'd be
have I
cool.
could have gone to
Go
see
to
I
that.
could have gone to see Yeet when he was 15, and now his concerts are like
God damn it.
regular
Of course
price
I'm
concerts.
fucking leaving a day early.
And then for Peter McParland, unfortunately, those two concerts I just wasn't in town to be able to go to them.
Yeah.
But like now he's opening for Imagine Dragons. I'm not spending hundreds of dollars
Yeah, hell no.
to go see Imagine Dragons just to see Peter McParland open. So I missed that chance, unfortunately, until he does his own tour. But so I'm like, why not? Like, it was one of those things where I was like, all
You
right,
should.
if I'm going to go to this concert, it's not going to be because I really like one song. I'm going to have to know at least 2 or 3 songs
Yeah.
to sing along to. And if I just don't know his other songs out of this album, I'll vibe to it, but I know enough
Yeah.
to sing and have a good time. So I'm coming back from, I don't remember where I was coming back from, but it was a lot of traffic. So I had a good hour of just sit in traffic driving home. And the album's 54 minutes. So I'm like, the only song I have heard is Darlin', and I think the following song once or Black Sugar because
Black Sugar.
because he
I
wanted to
love
because
that
Murata
song.
wanted to show me that.
It's so good.
So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna hit this album, whatever. Throw it on, start to finish. It's because I was playing Darlin', and I was like, I'm just gonna listen to the whole album. Why not? I throw it on as it's going down. I'm just like, there's so many
damn, I know.
different fucking feelings. There's so many different instruments, so many different vibes, just genres fully. Like,
Yeah.
there are so and good. His voice is incredible to begin
He's
with,
so good at singing.
but it's so little features, but every feature's perfect.
yeah.
One of my favorite songs on that album is "Die for Me" with Lil Yachty, and it's such a simple verse, but I love the chorus of that song.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was just like my number
thoroughly
one.
enjoy
Which
that
you know
album.
already. It was just an album that like took me by storm, and when I listened to it, I was like, "Holy fuck!" I haven't had an experience like that since this album. So then I just threw it up there.
Okay.
But yeah, that Glimmer of God it swept my list quicker than fucking Saturday Night did for my movies. Like,
If I would have discovered it whenever it came out, I don't know when it came out. It could have came out a few weeks ago. I don't know.
I think it came out not too long ago,
But
if I remember.
if I would have had more time to sit with it probably would have been my number 4 or number 5. What do you think my number 2 is?
I'm going back to this list right now.
I will tell you, in my opinion, it's the best written album of the year.
Oh, Billy's.
No.
Fuck. Best written?
Pure songwriting. I've told you about her.
Have I heard this album?
No, but she is my favorite songwriter of our generation. And I have told you I
remember you
am
talking about
thoroughly
this.
attracted to her.
Do I know this?
Thoroughly attracted.
Would I know this person for something they've done other than like you talking about it?
You would know their parent for something they've done.
Oh,
Look at the last names and you'll figure it out pretty quick.
oh, is it Gracie Abrams' album? Wow,
Secret of Us is my second favorite album of the year.
Wow.
It's the only
Like that?
I love it. Good Riddance, her first album is, I think,
That's J.J. Abrams' daughter, right?
yeah.
Well, at least his daughter can make something good.
He makes good stuff other than the Star Wars. We'll move on.
I will say he did make the good Star Trek movies. Those were great.
I love those movies.
Those were very good.
So, Good Riddance, there will very likely never be there are a few albums in my life that found me, you know, like the albums that you love because they found you at that perfect time and they came out at that perfect time in your
Yes.
life. That's her debut album for me. It is in my top 10 favorite albums of all time.
That's funny because mine was
It is-
Goodbye and Good Riddance by Juice, and it's similar to Good Riddance. That's funny.
pretty good.
Yeah, that should
She's-
save me in high school, bro.
She
Is it still on?
yeah, the light's dead.
Oh, the light died. Okay. Should we
she-
flip the thing?
We have 5 minutes. I'm going to have to press the button. It's fine.
Okay.
In my opinion, the best songwriter of our generation is her. She's so fucking
I would
talented.
say Lizzie. Because
Yeah, maybe.
Lizzie's songs just they hit so nice, like a poem. I love them,
She's
and her voice is wow.
we could sit here all day and I could talk about how good of an artist Gracie Abrams is. I'm also thoroughly attracted to her. Like more than Dua Lipa. I don't know what it is.
Wow.
I don't know what it is about her, something, but she's just so talented. And it's such a good album. And the thing that I know it's such a good album is because most of it is about like being a young girl in your 20s. Don't relate to that. And I still feel it. It's also produced by the guy that produced Folklore by Taylor Swift, which is my second favorite album.
Don't care for Taylor Swift.
I love it. There's not much else I could say. There were a few songs that almost were my song of the year on this album. There was one I was moments away from making it my song of the year. But my song of the year is for my favorite album of the year. And it hasn't really changed since. So, your number one. You ready? Mm-hmm. Your number one is 2-Star in the Dream Police by McGee.
Which is not only
I'm good.
Not only my number one on this list, but it is now, after very long and hard consideration, my favorite album of all time.
Damn.
That's
pretty good.
At this current moment in time, McGee swept under the fucking rug once, or like swept over my fucking.
Not the same.
I know, whatever. That's why I was fucking it up. Swept over my list. Just the moment that Keanu showed me the song "Are You Looking Up," it's like, this is a really good song. I really like this, and it's similar. Nice. It's very similar to The Police, which is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah. Who pointed that out to you?
You.
Yeah, I'm good.
But yeah, The Police is one of my favorite bands.
Knows what he's talking about.
It's one of those things that my dad showed me growing up that just influenced my taste in music. And it's very policey with the instruments, the guitar, the vibe of the song, the singing even, and some of the lyrics too.
It's an honorable mention for me. It's very well produced.
And I had absolutely no idea who McGee was.
It's not my kind of music.
But yeah, I had absolutely no idea who McGee was. Only song I'd ever heard was "Are You Looking Up?" because Keanu would play it constantly. And then eventually I was just like, who's that artist that you keep playing? And then I like sang the song because I didn't know what the title was. And he goes, "Oh, that's McGee." I was like, okay, cool. So I checked the album out. And I start to listen to it more and more. And then I really like Candy. And then I really like this other song. And then I really like this. I'm like, damn, this is really good. And at this point, I still hadn't sat down and listened to it. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to sit down and listen to it. That night, I played it 4 times in a row.
That's nuts. Your consumption habits are insane.
I sat there, had nothing to fucking do but listen to some music and just feel. And I listened to it 4 times in a row.
That's nuts.
And I was like, this album is just so good. And I was like, there's no way it's going to be, because my favorite before was The Stranger, Billy Joel.
That's, my favorite album.
Yeah. So I was like, I still think that's so cool that we have the same favorite. Had now.
The Stranger will forever be my favorite album.
My favorite, I think I fully made this specific decision last night, because even yesterday when I know
you were debating.
Yesterday when I was at the record store, because I went to Amoeba Records with Triana, I picked up the vinyl for
you bought
for
it?
The Stranger. No, I didn't buy it, but I picked up the vinyl for Stranger, and I was like, I even like when I pointed it out to her, I was like, favorite album of ever, best album ever made. Even yesterday during the day, I still hadn't changed my mind. Something last night just was like, no, I think this just might be it. But I genuinely think this right now, where I currently stand in albums that I've heard and grown up with, Strangers didn't move drastically. It's number 2 now.
Yeah.
But I think 2-Star in the Dream Police is my favorite album of all time.
It is very good.
And
it's not my kind of music.
McGee is slowly becoming one of my favorite artists, up there with Peter McPaulin.
Have you gone back to? I've
gone back and listened to some of his older music, and I still really like
Rockman is great.
Rockman is his best song.
So
it's his newest song, and it's his best song.
And he made it on tour.
That and Candy.
I like that.
That and Candy are my favorite McGee songs. But man, and he's just so. I just think he's incredibly talented.
His voice is so incredibly talented.
But yeah, that's this is my number 1, and yeah, just very fresh decision. But at this current moment,
it's your favorite album.
It is my favorite album ever.
That's pretty good. So, process of elimination. What's my favorite album of this year?
Man, dude, I really thought it was gonna be the Dua Lipa one.
I can't believe,
because you like Dua Lipa so much.
Yeah, I do. But this album has made its way into my top 10 favorite albums ever. In my opinion, it is it is the perfect combination of the best written and the best produced album of the year. It's not like
Is it Billy's?
yes.
No way. No. There's so many other albums that were so much better this year. And I don't say that about Billy a lot. Billy respectfully wins. Like every year, respectfully, I will give Billy the benefit of the doubt when she wins album of the year. She deserves it just about every time. But this year,
This is her best album.
okay. That's a stretch. But
You have 3 options. It's not Happier Than Ever.
that's what I was thinking. I thought that was her best one.
Oh, then you're alone in that one.
I don't know.
You're the minority, at least.
I guess. I really did like this album. But
You were at the live show for it. I was in fucking Florida listening to it.
yeah, I know. I went to the fucking listening party, and even then,
I love this album. It is so well produced. It's so well written.
I just think this year was so good for movies and
innovative.
shows that Billy was no longer.
You just
in
said
that
movies
top
and
spot.
shows.
Or sorry, movies and music.
Hold on.
I think this year was so perfect for movies, television, music, and games and media, just all together, that Billy, unfortunately, in my opinion, this year just didn't.
It's the only time I'll say you're simply wrong. I just disagree.
This is the one. This is
I
the one. This is
fucking
the
love
one
this
year that
album.
I'm like, Billy isn't dominating.
It's so
She
good.
sold a lot of records, of course, still made her numbers, but
The-
when it comes to every other project that was dropped this year, no one really had the top spot. Everyone had their own moment, but no one really had the top spot this year. Everyone had some part of the
Brat.
year that was owned to them.
Brat. The longest of it was Brat. Sabrina's second.
The longest of it was Brat because it was Brat Summer. But I'm saying, like, Billy was the beginning of the year. Brat was all of summer.
No.
That was
Hit Me Hard and
March,
Stuff
bro.
came out in May.
There's no way it was May.
It was. Hit Me Hard and
No,
Stuff.
because this was during You Know Who.
Yeah, I know.
And that did not last.
Yeah, it was May 17th.
That lasted that long?
Yeah. Anyways, I'm right. It's the best produced album of the
I
year.
lost more time in my life than
Or
I thought.
it's not the best produced album of the year. Its production, that's hilarious. Its production is so well done. It's so well written. It's so innovative. They take the bare bones production that is on When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? They get rid of that. It's so eclectic.
I think production. Yeah, I agree with
The-
production wise. It was the best.
Her
produced
vocals, this is her best vocal performance on her albums. Vocally, she's the best she's ever been. Those notes she hits, I can't remember what song. Her vocally, she's insane. The writing is so well.
album. It's an incredible
Each
album.
song, we'll get into. I've already said my song of the year is off this album.
Is it Wildflower?
No. The funny thing is, in my opinion, my least favorite song, other than maybe Bittersweet, is Birds of a Feather, and it's the biggest song on the album.
So overplayed. That song's so annoying to me just because of how overplayed it got.
It's incredibly good. It is overplayed.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that song got ruined for me because of TikTok. I can't listen to Birds of a Feather.
In my opinion, like the most underrated song and the song that I thought was gonna fucking explode was Lunch. That
Dude.
song's so good.
Lunch is really
It's
good.
so fucking good.
My favorite,
My
favorite is still the one that got the deluxe song to it. L'amour de ma vie.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
L'amour de ma vie.
We'll talk about that song in a minute.
My favorite song on that album.
So
I will listen to all 6 minutes of that full song.
it is so Blue at the end, all the transitions it makes, it's so fucking good.
It is, but
It was immediately my favorite album of the year, and it hasn't. The only album that gave me pause was Gracie Abrams' album.
only reason Blue wasn't so crazy for me is because regardless of me having little to no knowledge about Billy, for some reason,
Had you heard that unreleased song?
Blue is the only unreleased Billy song I've ever heard. And so I already knew the song. It was just like,
There's more. Of
oh,
it.
it's polished. I know, but it was just more of like,
Yeah.
oh, it's fully polished. It's kind of like a Juice song for me. It's like I've heard so many Juice leaks
That's fair.
that like when he died and they were dropping those like post.
This is gonna die, so we need to speed up.
But yeah, when they were doing the postmortem albums and like they were just collections of his unreleased songs, like it was great. They released
Yeah.
it. They were finally on my playlist, but like I had already heard them. So it was like, I'm super happy it's out, but it's not the same feeling as when I first heard it on SoundCloud. So for me, Blue, great song
get that.
still, but it was just one of those things where it's like, oh, I've already heard it. But live is what made it great. Hearing
Okay.
that shit live with the lights, oh, wow, dude.
Okay. That's my favorite album of the year. It hasn't changed since May. Song of the year.
You go first.
So what do you think my song of the year is?
I think
It's off the fucking album.
of Billy's.
Yeah. And you've already said it.
Oh, Wildflower?
No.
Perks.
No.
Blue?
L'Amour de ma vie, you fucking moron.
Oh. Yeah.
It's incredible.
That's my favorite.
It's
Oh, no.
incredible.
All right.
I think your favorite song of the year. I fucking love
Let me
L'Amour
give
de
you
ma vie.
let me give you my honorable mentions first because I
Let
made a top five.
Let me
for
guess,
this.
because you might say an honorable mention. I think your favorite song of the year is Fiend. Now give me your honorable mentions.
Fiend was last year.
Oh, it was? Fuck.
Utopia was last year.
God damn it. Okay, then before that I had some help. Or is that I had some help? Is that what the
Honorable mention, but not
Fuck.
number one. My honorable mentions are Praise John the Moonlight. I had some help. Taste. And Carnival.
I knew Taste wasn't. I'm surprised Carnival. I thought about
Carnival was almost my number one.
What is your number one song of the year? Who sings it?
Kendrick Lamar. Not Like Us.
Oh, how did I not think of that? Oh my God.
It's not my most played song at all by any
I'm
means.
an idiot. That's so dumb. I
It's
should have gotten
It's not
that.
my favorite song at all by Kendrick by any means.
I should have gotten that.
But what it did to rap,
Yeah.
what it did to the Drake
damn
beef,
it.
what it did for 4.5 fucking months is why it's the song of the year. It changed so much,
Yeah.
which then led
God
to
damn it.
GNX.
This is you have moments. Say your last thoughts and we're ending it.
But yeah, that is I think song of the year is Not Like Us. And
That's so I gotta fuck. I should have gotten
I know we weren't talking about this, but I just wanted to throw in this as a little extra category. I think show of the year was Penguin for sure.
My favorite show of the year was Agatha. I think it's probably the only show I've
My
seen all the
favorite
way
show
through
of the
this
year, and I think the best show on television this year was.
I'm gonna watch it when I'm in Iowa. I'll let you know. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that jazz. I'm excited. I've been here a year now. This is the end of
Happy
my
year.
first year.
Happy year. I'm so
Like-
happy.
It's fucking crazy. I survived a year here, and it was debatable at some points.
As it always is.
So, especially for me.
I still have my debatable moments
I
here and there.
yeah. Happy New Year. I'm so excited for what
Merry Christmas, Happy New
2025
Year's.
is gonna bring. Hopefully, some cash my way.
Yeah, I hope money be coming into my pockets more next year for sure.
Yeah, he's got too much other stuff coming in his pockets, so it needs to be some money. Happy New Year.
What the fuck does that mean?
Terrible joke. We love you. I have been your future favorite pop star, Landyn Zane.
And I have been the other great host, Sebastian Miquilarena.
This is your favorite podcast. For the record, Happy New Year. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for watching.